Hello, everyone. Are you on? Yes. Okay, so I'm just double checking. We're using some new technology today, guys. So we are on for this training today, which is all about having a healthy body and a healthy business, because I wanted to bring on my naturopath and my friend, Vesna Hrsto, because she kind of introduced me to this concept of looking after myself and self-care, and how food actually impacts how we feel and how we actually perform. And I wanted to talk to you guys about this because this is one of the things in my life. I tend to put my busyness ahead of my health. And I know that from the response that I got to this training that you guys have felt a little bit the same. And so I know that this is going to be a really interesting training for you today, and you'll get a lot out of it. I wanted to tell you this story because when I started looking after myself, I did this thing where I put my health first. I made sure that I was eating properly. I made sure that I was walking. I made sure that I was doing all these things for myself before I started my work day, and I ended up having the biggest month in my business that I've ever had in the whole time I've ever had my business. So I know that this stuff works. And so I'm now going to hand it over to Vesna, and she's going to talk to us about how to biohack your metabolism, to lose weight, to heal your system, to feel awesome, and you will see the impact of that on the bottom line in your business. I just know that you will. And we've had a whole heap of questions that have come through, so we're going to probably answer those questions at the end. If you do have questions, as you think of them, post them into the comments. And then just remember, we were talking about if you stick around to the end, there is going to be a super duper gift for those who stick around to the end. And the way that you'll get that gift is if you are on live, and we will tell you something that you need to do in order to get the gift. So that's how we'll know that you're actually listening to the training. Without further ado, I would like you to introduce you to Vesna Hrsto, the amazing naturopath, awesome all-round life coach. Hi!
Hi, so nice to be here. Thank you for the welcome. I've been excited about talking to you guys. Hey, Megan. So for this training, I'm going to talk about if you've struggled to lose weight in the past, or if you've lost weight and you've put it back on, so you're finding it hard to keep it off. You've got cravings, you find that you're binge eating, all of that kind of stuff. I'm really going to give you the long-term solution. So I'd really talk about why those things happen, and then how to really turn up your metabolic burn rate or your metabolism in order to lose the weight and keep it off. Okay, so the process or the kind of formula that I'm going to share with you is the same thing that my clients have used for their weight loss. And one of my clients, Jackie, she lost 3 kilos in 1 week. And within the first week, she was already buying smaller clothes, which is pretty exciting. Kim lost 4 kilos in 2 weeks. And I remember her calling me in the first week to say she was so excited to jump on the scales. She was jumping on the scales like twice a day just to go, wow, that looks amazing. I'm losing weight, because the weight loss was so fast. Okay. And Lynn lost 10 kilos in 6 weeks. And I remember when I first gave her the plan, she actually thought that she would gain weight because she was eating so much food. Okay. So the principles that I'm going to share with you is you can lose up to 8 kilos in 4 weeks while eating 5 to 6 meals a day. Okay, so it's probably going to be a lot more food than what you're used to, but that is part of how the formula works. Are we all okay? Am I still online?
Yes, we're all good.
Awesome. Okay. All right, so I'm going to cover 3 main points. The first point is why you struggle to lose weight, keep it off, and how to overcome this. Second point is the 3 major players for an ultra-fast metabolism, okay, which has nothing to do with calories. And point 3, how to accelerate your weight loss while eating more. Okay, so the first point is why you struggle to lose weight and how to overcome it. So the first thing to highlight is that our metabolism or our weight we should be able to regulate that naturally, okay? Our body regulates that quite naturally. And we have inbuilt mechanisms that control this, okay? So our brain communicates with our body via different hormones, okay? So in a healthy metabolism, our brain will know how much body fat that we have in our body by a hormone that circulates in our body called leptin. Okay. And if the brain is picking up on high levels of leptin, it knows that you have too much body fat. Okay. And what it does, it kicks the system into gear, and it will speed up your metabolism. Okay. It'll activate the thyroid, it will activate different hormones, speed up your metabolism, and it will reduce your appetite and your cravings. Okay. So it puts you in a state of fat burning. Okay. That's in a healthy metabolism. Your body will self-regulate. Okay. In an unhealthy metabolism, the brain, there's a disconnect between the brain and the body. So the brain is not picking up on those leptin levels or those hormone levels. So what the brain actually thinks is that you don't have much leptin at all, which means you don't have much body fat. And that's an emergency state for your body, which means that if you don't have enough body fat, it needs to start putting that body fat away. Okay, so it will actually slow down your metabolism. Okay, and it will increase your hunger and your cravings. So you eat, okay, and then what you eat will be stored as fat. Okay, so you can see, obviously, we want the healthy metabolism. We don't want the unhealthy. And the important thing is to note here is that our body should be able to regulate this on its own. Okay, and the reason why it doesn't, okay, the biggest cause for this that I've seen is that our metabolism breaks down. Okay, and that's where the real struggle lies. And it breaks down because three key systems are not working together in sync, okay? And this happens for a number of reasons. The biggest one that I see is long-term chronic dieting, restrictive eating, cutting out major food groups, eating like 1,200 calories a day, 1,500 calories a day. All of that stuff will dampen your metabolism, okay? It'll really cool your metabolism down. It turns down that inner fire that we have, and it turns it down slowly year by year, okay? Now, this is why some people struggle to lose weight, even though they don't eat very much, okay? Now, it's not just restrictive dieting. Now, I'm sure a lot of people, I might go and ask the question if a lot of people, if this makes sense, if you're kind of in this place where you've had a lot of diet or you've done a lot of diets, you find that either it's a struggle to lose the weight or that when you come off, you put the weight back on so quickly and so easily.
Yes, I think that's a great question. So everybody, if you or give me a bit of a like, a bit of a hands up, hey, comment in the thing. If you guys have had anything like that where you've done restrictive diets, where you've dieted, you've lost weight, and then you've put it back on. Or the other thing that I was which actually just came up for me while you were just talking there, Vez, was I just started going, I'm just getting older. I'm just getting older, so slower.
Yeah. So much rubbish. It's not. I mean, I know they throw those stats around, but it's, I mean, when you're in your 40s and 50s, your metabolism drops such a small amount that it's not even worth mentioning. It's like such a small percentage. I can't even remember what it is, but it's so insignificant. It's not the reason. Okay.
Yeah. It's Peter's saying yes. Yeah. You agree with that? Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Okay. Carry on, my friend.
Okay, cool. Okay, so it's not just restrictive dieting that breaks our metabolism down, okay? It's lower quality food, okay? So thanks to all the preservatives, additives, processing in our foods today, we pump ourselves full of sugar and artificial sweeteners, GMO foods, pesticides. We either drink too much alcohol, too much caffeine or soft drinks. And the biggest one is that we live with a huge amount of crushing stress, which basically throws off every hormone or the very hormones that control our metabolism, okay? So the most important thing is that we need to repair and heal the metabolism. Otherwise, you will be struggling to lose the weight and you'll be on this kind of a yo-yo for years and years, okay?
I think that's key, Vez. I was just going to say that was one of the key things that you taught me when I did this program with you. One of the things that you taught me was there's no point going and doing a detox or going and doing anything until you actually repair the system first. Yep. And so we did this like really soft repairing kind of thing first, and then went and did the detoxing, which was that was an epiphany to me.
Yep, you want to get the body ready for what it needs to do, and there's different ways of doing it, but generally the consistent way is to give the body a lot of nutrition. Because
it's
the
like
body knows what to.
It was like when I was asking you the other day about colonics, and you were saying don't do the colonic first, you do it after you've repaired. And I think that's a key thing that people miss.
Do it with the detox.
Yeah.
Because they work together. Yep.
Yeah. As you were.
Okay. Okay, so once you've been on a restrictive diet, once if your diet's had a lot of sugar or processed foods or pesticides, etc., once your metabolism slows down, okay, study after study has shown that your metabolic rate doesn't return back to normal, even though you return to eating normal foods. So say you've been on a 1,200 calorie diet and your metabolism, what it does, it gets so used to you starving yourself. Okay, so 1,200 calories is starving yourself, and your body is able to adjust. Your body is able to support itself on a smaller number of calories. Okay, and it does that by slowing down your metabolism. So then once you go back to eating normal, the metabolism stays quite low for a long time, even though you go back to eating normal foods. And so what that means is that when you go off a restrictive diet, you gain weight with a vengeance, okay, because your body is trying to save you from future famine, okay? So who has noticed this? I mean, this is a really common one that I see. You know, I've seen women or clients over the years lose like, you know, up to 45 kilos, you know, lots of weight.
Put it back on.
And put it back on. And it's really disheartening, yeah, because of this impact to the metabolism.
Yeah. So guys, give us a like or give us a comment and let us know, have you guys experienced that as well, where you've done, you know, you've done restrictive dieting and then you have put it all back on? Because I know a few people have told me about this. I mean, I did it myself, like back in the day when I was getting ready to get married. I was down to 48 kilos and wow. Yeah, like, I mean, I felt like I looked quite good at the time, but then as soon as I stopped doing what I was going to do, like what I was doing, you know, it went back up. So,
yeah. Well, do you know what's interesting? I remember when I was about 13 or 14, I did my first diet. Now, I didn't need to lose any weight. I was just a teenager. Or maybe I was 14, 15. I don't know. I was very young. Yeah. And my mum was doing a diet and I thought, and I was really athletic and really sporty, and I thought, oh, this would be a good thing. This will just improve me in some way. It's got to be good. If my mum's doing it, you know, it's got to be good. Yeah. And I remember being so hungry on the diet, and it was like a Heart Foundation diet, you know, and it was just, you know, ice cream and deli meats and just rubbish. Oh. And I remember coming off the diet and I'd lost weight, and I remember feeling really light and feeling really amazing. Yeah. And then just being like an insatiable appetite, just binge eating. That's when I first started binge eating. And then I went on the diet again because I put the weight straight back on, plus a little bit more. So I thought I better do it again, and this way I'll keep it off.
Wow. And so you were really young then when you did that?
I was so young. And then so I went on the diet again, and then obviously I lost it, and then I put it back on, and it starts that cycle, right?
Yeah.
Body doesn't like to be starved, whether it be through calories or through nutrition.
And it's that thing where I think I've read this before, but you also say it as well, where your body has a set point or it knows its weight that it should be, and if you just eat normally, exercise normally, you will just fall into that set point usually.
Yeah,
which can be harder than it sounds, because I know I get really tired and busy, and so I just go for food because it's easy.
Yeah, well, in that case, you really need to surround yourself with good food. It's a given. Like, even when I'm tired and busy, and if there's not good food around me, I'm just going to grab whatever's there. So the only way around that is to be really prepared.
Yeah, so true. Awesome.
Cool. All right. So, just to kind of recap on that, our body maintains our weight naturally. It's a self-regulating mechanism or system. And when it's not, it's because our metabolism has broken down due to restrictive eating, poor quality food, excessive alcohol, and the biggest one, stress. Okay. Yeah. So point 2 is, what are the 3 major players for an ultra-fast metabolism? Okay. So most people think that they have to eat less in order to lose weight. Okay. And it's just not true. Okay. So not all calories are equal. So for example, if I was to eat an avocado or have a Diet Coke, they would do 2 very different things in my body. An avocado with its high good fat content will actually stimulate my fat for fuel mechanisms. So it will stimulate my body to burn body fat because it has fat, okay? Diet Coke will actually, Diet Coke is with this artificial sweeteners and additives and things like that. It actually contains chemicals known as obesogens, okay? So they lead to obesity. Basically, they literally make you fat. Wow. And the sugar, the artificial sweetener, will actually cause a spike in your glucose levels. So all of that puts your body into a fat storage mode. Okay, so calories are not equal, so we can't just look at, counting calories. The main thing that controls our metabolic burn rate are three key systems, okay? And if your metabolic burn rate is high, okay, so, if you notice skinny people, they can eat junk and stuff like that here and there and they don't gain any weight, okay?
Yes.
It's because their metabolic burn rate is up really high, okay? And when that's high, you're burning fat during the day for energy, which gives you lots of energy all day long. Okay, you burn fat while you're sleeping, your body's detoxifying, it's just running at peak performance, okay? So your metabolic burn rate, we want that high, and it's controlled by three key systems, okay? So first one is your adrenals, okay? So your adrenals are glands which sit just above your kidneys, and they are part of our stress response, okay? So they release a hormone called cortisol. Now, when we're stressed, if we've had a busy day, we've missed a meal, etc., our adrenals are going to be activated for most of the day, okay? Now, your adrenals will determine how your body uses fuel, okay, or how you access fuel in your body and what you do with it. So what that means is your adrenals will decide whether you store fat or whether you burn it as energy, okay? So before you can actually start to burn food and body fat as energy, you first need to calm your adrenals, okay? So if you miss meals, if you go too long between meals, if you eat too fast, if you eat foods that are high in sugar or fats or too much caffeine, all of this will activate the adrenals, cause you to have those kinds of highs and lows during the day with your energy, okay? Because it's releasing a lot of stress hormone. And stress hormone, particularly cortisol, specializes in storing fat, okay? Now, when we're stressed, our body has two sources of fuel. We either have body fat or we have glucose, okay? But when we're stressed, our body will always go for glucose, okay? Because glucose gives us that quick rise in energy, because when we're stressed, our body thinks we are in an emergency state, okay? So it needs that quick rise of energy, okay? So it will start to burn through glucose. And if your glucose, say, fuel tank, if you can imagine it like that, once that starts to run low, okay, and you're still stressed, the body knows that it needs to refuel that tank. Otherwise, there's another emergency situation, okay? So the way the body does that is by either increasing your cravings, increasing your hunger, okay? Or it will actually, if you don't eat, so if you kind of power through the day and ignore those symptoms, your body will actually start to break down muscle tissue, okay? It will convert your muscle tissue into amino acids and then into glucose, basically, and refuel that tank. So what that means is that you actually start to change your body shape, okay? Because you're breaking down muscle, you're depositing fat, okay? And so this is where we get the change in body shape. This is where we get the cellulite, okay? So if anyone's noticed this, yeah? It's because of this muscle. What's that?
I have cellulite, yes.
This is where that starts to happen, okay? Because you're taking away muscle, and muscle is our biggest indicator of health and longevity, and you're replacing it with body fat. Okay,
interesting. I was just going to say, interesting what you were saying, because I know that a lot of people that were messaging me were saying things like their cravings, they couldn't stop craving certain foods, like whatever it is. So this probably is where that comes in, right?
Yep, absolutely. So the adrenals will control like any kind of drop in blood sugar levels or stress. When that glucose tank starts to run low, it will trigger cravings. Yeah, your body it needs to fill up that tank. Otherwise, you won't survive.
So who here, give me a shout out to press like or press comment in the comments below and let us know who here is has a lot of cravings for foods, and they seem to feel like that's why they can't lose weight, or that's why that you just can't seem to stop eating certain foods? Let us know in the comments.
I definitely see that as like one of the biggest roadblocks for people is that the cravings are so powerful. It's overpowering for them. They can't control it. And I always say that you can't beat your body's biochemistry. Okay.
Yeah.
When your sugar levels run low, I don't care how much willpower you have. Okay. Your body goes into survival mode. It's feedback mechanisms. It's all these systems are set up in our body to keep us alive. And cravings is one of them. You can't mentally fight that, you know?
No, because I think that's the other thing as well, is it's all well and good saying to people, oh, you just have got to stop eating certain foods and you've got to, you know, start eating healthy and all that. Like, if you had have said that to me, I would have just been like, that doesn't help me.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I remember when I went through my burnout and adrenal fatigue and I stacked on heaps of weight because my hormones were just a mess. And I was trying everything, you know, like to just eat less and do this and do that. But the cravings were massive, you know. I was tired, so I needed, you know, chocolate and coffee to keep me going.
Yeah.
You know, and if someone would have said to me, you know, just work on your mindset, and I did stuff like that, you know, I would have just smashed them in the face.
Yeah, there's nothing worse.
Yeah, like, some things, you know, are designed, like our body has those systems in place to keep us alive.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Oh, here we go. What's? Oh my God, I'm missing all these comments. Sorry, guys. Unless they've all come through at the same time. Okay, so Julie's saying, okay, hang on a minute. So, Peter, mine was from 9 months of sickness while pregnant and stacked on the weight after birth as I was in starvation mode 3 years ago now. Yeah. And then, I can't believe I've missed all these comments, sorry. Julie's saying, I've dieted properly twice and lost 16 kilos the first time and 27 kilos the second time. The second time was last year. I've put it on back very quickly. Yeah, interesting, isn't it? Amanda, I've lost 15 kilos last year just eating more healthy, maintained it for 6 months, then stacked it all back on. Feels like I can't stop eating. Can this be related to menopause and change in hormones?
Yeah, there was a question that I'm going to answer about the menopause and weight. Can I leave that to the end?
That one to the end. Yeah. Rach, done every diet under the sun since about 15, can lose 20 kilos in 10 weeks and then put on 30 in 5 weeks. Yeah. So it sounds like
like I said, the metabolism just turns down. That inner fire just goes really cool, and then, you know, you gain it back quicker and quicker each time.
So Rachel said, how can you start to reproduce the leptin? Will we leave that one to the end as a question?
Yeah, leave it to the end. Yep.
Okay, yeah, cool. Amanda, that's me, constant craving for sugar. Yep. Cellulite, Rachel, I've got cellulite too. Peter, sure do. Rach, not so much do.
Yeah.
And then pick the kids' dinner as well.
Yeah, I mean, you could eat, like I always say, I see a lot of women like that. You could eat the entire pantry and not be satisfied. Like still looking for more. Sugar levels have just gone too low, and they can't be satisfied. Like they just take too long to rise. Yeah.
And Peter saying mine started with CFS too. What's CFS?
Chronic fatigue syndrome. Yep.
Oh, okay. There you go. Glad you know.
Really tired. So being really tired, I mean, that's just like adrenal fatigue. Like you're going to go for stuff that gives you energy. And then eventually, you know, that becomes your kind of crutch, you know, you rely on that. But you've really got to look at what's the underlying cause there and treat that. So it's all good to say, like, don't, you know, cut out those foods. You really got to look at what's the heart of the problem here. Like that's, you know, going for sugary foods is just a symptom.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what I loved about you when I started talking to you about this stuff. And you were like, no, we won't be doing that. We'll be doing this first because otherwise we're just looking at the symptom, not the problem. So James, we've got a fella on here. Hey, James, probably a mix of the downward spiral of alcohol and then the good old fat, sugar, salt. Yeah. Alcohol's my little bad thing too.
And that's what I'm going to talk about now, actually. It's a nice little segue into the next point.
Let's go.
The next key player. So just to summarize on that one with adrenals, you actually need to be relaxed in order to burn fat, okay? Which is why you're probably seeing a lot of, you know, I see a lot of executives or women in business who are really stressed, but they eat like a sparrow, okay? Yeah. Or they live on coffee, but they're carrying around lots of excess weight, okay? It's because the adrenals never calm down. They never switch off. and your body never goes in.
Sorry, I'm just going to say that as well, because I always say you have to be relaxed in order to be creative in your business. So no wonder you make more money when you're healthy. There you go. Boom, we've realised why.
Yeah. Well, the whole creativity principle, right? It comes from a clear and relaxed mind. And so the more you're busy and anxious and stressed and got all these expectations, you just cut your creativity right off. Yeah. Okay, so adrenals, we need to calm them down, and that way our body will go into fat burning mode. Okay, so that's to summarize that point. The second key system is the liver. Okay, so the liver can influence our burn rate by up to 90%. Okay, because it actually processes our amino acids, which come from protein, and it produces nutrients like carnitine, which convert our fat into energy. Okay, so a lot of our metabolism happens right here. Okay, it also breaks down our hormones, like our thyroid hormone, and activates them. Okay, so the thyroid may be working really well, but if your liver isn't, it's not going to activate those hormones. So which means you're not going to have that metabolic burn rate up high. Okay. The biggest thing that I see with the liver, though, is that poor liver function, or toxic buildup in the liver. Okay, so your liver is what stimulates your body to release fat cells from storage. Okay, so if you've got toxic buildup in your liver and in your body from foods, from processed foods, fatty foods, we get chemicals in our environment from excess alcohol, okay, artificial sweeteners, diet products. We get toxins built up from byproducts of metabolism. We get it from cleaning products. There's so many different sources of toxicity in our environment and in our food that build up within the body.
So it's not just alcohol?
No. Alcohol's a big one because, it's such a common one. We so indulge in it, okay? And it really slows down liver function, okay? And particularly if you're having it I will often have people say, I only drink Friday, Saturday night, but I'll have a bottle of wine on those nights. 2 bottles of wine. Yeah, that's a lot of alcohol. It doesn't seem like much, but it's a lot. It adds up. You do that over the space of a year, it's 100 and something bottles of wine. It's a lot.
But it's interesting to me, this whole liver thing really, when I watched this training the other day, and the reason that I asked you to come and do this with the girls was with everyone, not just the girls, sorry, James. So the reason that I asked you was because for me this was a fascinating thing about the liver and how the toxicity in our environment, and particularly because in my house, for instance, Al's around cleaning products all the time, and he's got stuff which he's actually had his liver tested. And he's got liver issue, he's got high levels of whatever it is. And to me, I'm going, right, okay, so that's probably alcohol and bad food, but also the cleaning products. So it can, you can be doing everything right with your diet, but then still have other things happening.
Yep, absolutely. So you've really got to look at your environment, even what you're putting on your skin. Our skin is our biggest elimination organ of the body. Okay, it's going to get toxins out. We've got our kidneys, we've got our liver, we've got our bowels, but our skin is actually, because the surface area is so big, it's actually our biggest elimination organ. And if we're putting a lot of crap on our skin, we're just blocking that off, right? So we're preventing that from happening. So then again, toxins get pushed in. And so if you've got poor liver function, you've got toxic buildup, what happens then is that in order for your body to protect you from those toxins, it actually moves those toxins into fat cells. Okay, so it kind of keeps them nice and protected in fat cells, and that way it can't do any harm in the body. Okay, the body actually puts it there to protect itself. Okay, and so the more toxicity that we have, and the poorer our liver function, so basically the more toxicity that builds up, the more fat cells that we need to create in order to house those chemicals and those toxins. Okay, so toxic fat, if you don't have enough body fat, your body just will create some more just to put those toxins in there. Okay, so this is probably one of the biggest ones for the liver, and it's the reason why people lose weight when they do a detox. Okay, because they've improved liver detoxification. Then the liver will go, okay, now I'm ready to release those fats those toxins out of storage because I can process them now, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Love
Talking
it.
about the liver like it has a personality, but you know what I mean. So you can increase your weight by just having toxicity and poor liver function alone. Okay.
Awesome.
Any questions about that, guys?
Yeah. Has anyone got any questions? Actually, that's a good way to ask.
Has anyone noticed that they've lost weight on the detox?
Okay, let me just, Peter's name sound familiar to Claire. She knows me too well. Oh dear. What's James? I'll be one of the girls, don't worry. Awesome. Anyone else got any questions about the liver stuff or the toxins? There's a little bit of a delay, so that's all good. Peter, I've never done a detox. Awesome. Okay, that's probably one of your a good one, Peter, for you. Rach, I suggest.
We've heard enough about that, surely.
Yeah, my husband did a juice detox and lost nearly 5 kilos.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And this is why. Okay, as soon as you take the pressure off the liver can do what it needs to do, which is detoxify. And it will allow that fat to come out of storage because it can handle it. It can process it and can get rid of it.
Yeah, awesome. And so then the thing then is that you would then want to then not go back, because I know, like, I did my detox and my whole healthy thing with you back in March, and I would have maintained it, except then I had guests from Ireland living with me for 7 weeks, and I went straight.
And they're Irish, so say no more.
Yes, basically. And so I kind of straight away went back to my old ways, even though I ate more healthily, but I still was drinking probably more than I ever did. So that's the kind of key, is that I could have easily not done that had I not had that, circumstances happening in my life, because I found the eating part of it really easy.
Yeah.
So James is saying 3 kilos on dropping alcohol from the diet, nothing else changed, diet and exercise. I'd be interested in doing something properly. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, cool.
All right. So just to recap, the first system I talked about was the adrenals. So you need to switch, you need to calm down the adrenals in order to switch your body into fat burning mode. And the second one was to support the liver so we can remove the fat from storage. Okay.
Yeah.
The third and final system that makes up your metabolic burn rate is your thyroid. Okay. And I know most people would have heard so much about the thyroid, but the thyroid is the queen of the metabolism, or the king. And it controls the metabolism of every single cell in our body. Okay. So this is what actually burns the fat. So thyroid's in the neck area. Okay. And it's the main hormone from the thyroid, which contributes to a super fast metabolism, is called T3, okay? And the common problem that we see today, due to restricted dieting, stress, always being hungry, nutrient deficiencies, excess alcohol, etc., is that we produce too much reverse T3, okay? And reverse T3 has the reverse effect on your metabolism, okay? And this hormone will block receptor sites throughout the body. So what that means is that I kind of give this analogy that reverse T3 is kind of like, if you think of a game of soccer, reverse T3 is like the goalkeeper, okay, and it's blocking the T3 from getting in. Okay, so the T3, once the T3 comes in to the goal, it's going to activate, it's going to burn fat. It's going to burn it particularly off your belly button thighs. Okay, but reverse T3 is blocking that from happening. So you're going to start to accumulate more fat in those areas. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so we actually do need reverse T3. Okay, reverse T3, if we don't have it, if we didn't have reverse T3, we would basically need to eat every 2 hours. Otherwise we die. Okay, because reverse T3 tells your body not to burn off breakfast too quickly, just in case there's nothing to eat until dinner time. Okay, so if we were stuck in a desert, or if you were stuck in a desert with only 1 bottle of water for 3 days, you would ration that water out in order to survive, yeah?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what your body does and thinks when you're stressed or starving, okay? It feels like it needs more reverse T3 to ration out your food supply. Okay, and so reverse T3 is a survival response, and it's used to prevent starvation. Okay, so it's very important. Okay, but the problem today is that we're not starving, but we are stressed. Okay, we put ourselves on self-inflicted semi-starvation diets. We're nutritionally starving, and that's causing reverse T3 to take dominance over our super fast metabolizer T3. Does that make sense?
I think so. Is that making sense to you guys? Just checking the comments. Yep, Peter's saying yes. Awesome. Cool. Yep, sounds good to me.
Okay. So I know that we, like particularly today with a lot of knowledge about thyroid health and different conditions of the thyroid, we place a lot of emphasis on just improving thyroid function, but we also need to look at what is actually blocking the thyroid from doing its thing, okay? And that is reverse T3. And then it's also that kind of interplay with adrenals and liver and the thyroid, okay? So nothing works in isolation. In the body with our hormones that control our metabolism, they all work like one big happy family, okay? Yeah. If one hormone's out, the rest of them are going to be pushed out, okay? They don't work in isolation. So we need to look at the whole picture rather than targeting specific hormones or nutrients, etc.
Yeah.
Okay, so to summarize on those three key systems, adrenals, we want to calm them down so we can burn fat. The liver, we want to improve and reduce toxicity so we can release that fat out of storage. And the thyroid is really going to burn that fat. Okay?
Awesome.
The third point I wanted to make in this training is how you can accelerate your weight loss while eating more. Okay, so looking at keeping all of those systems in mind, how can we target each of those major systems and with different foods in order to repair our metabolism? Okay, so I'm going to give you some examples, but I've called these functional foods because they serve a function. They're highly nutritious foods, which when you cycle them in a particular way, they will heal your metabolism, that will speed up your metabolic burn rate, and they'll help you to lose weight, okay? Plus, it will also help you do a few other things like have more energy, it will improve your immune system, it will detox your body, it will detox your skin, it will reduce bloating, you'll sleep better, all of that kind of stuff from having functional foods back in your diet.
Bez, so, before you keep going, I just reminded myself of another thing that happened for me when I did your when I worked with you. Remember, I had those big bags under my eyes.
Yeah.
And remember, somebody commented, I think it was Al, and was like, "Oh my God, you don't have those bags anymore." And I had really dark lines, and it was all I'd changed was my eating. That was it. I wasn't sleeping more. I wasn't doing anything more. It was just food, and it was because I was eating more, and obviously in a certain order that you were telling me to do it in. So fascinating. And like that was actually one of the biggest things that I was like, oh my God, that's better than the weight loss.
That's so funny. Like I always say, don't underestimate the power of food. Do you know? Because food has the power to change our hormones, change our mental health as well. You know, it's so linked to anxiety and depression and things like that. So it has quite a powerful effect. So
sorry,
that's
carry on.
Example. That's right. So we want to have lots of nutrition in our body, and we need this in order to repair our metabolism. So this is not about cutting out any major food groups. Okay. So for example, the adrenals need carbohydrates in order to calm down. Okay. In order to be relaxed. Okay. So when we have carbohydrates, our body then knows it's safe to burn body fat for fuel. Okay. So if you go off carbs, if you go too low on carbs and things like that, when you've got an unhealthy or broken metabolism, it's not going to do you any favors. Okay. It's going to make it harder for your body to reach in and pull that body fat out and burn it off. Okay. So we want to have carbohydrates. The other thing is that we want to nourish the thyroid. So we want to have foods which are, you know, high in specific nutrients for the thyroid, like selenium and zinc. So all of that is going to stimulate that main metabolizer, T3. Okay. And then for the liver, we want to look at, the liver loves protein. Okay. And so I think I said in the beginning that when we have a lot of protein, it breaks down into amino acids, and the liver will take a specific amino acid, carnitine, which moves fat inside of our cells to be burnt off for energy. Okay, so they are just a few examples of how to kind of eat functional foods to nourish those key systems to then bring the metabolism and the metabolic burn rate back online. Yeah. But you also need to look at removing toxic foods as well. Okay, so one of the biggest, or two of the biggest examples I can give is anything that's diet, anything that's fat-free is loaded with chemicals. Okay, it's generally loaded with sugar if it's fat-free, but it's also loaded with those industrial chemicals called obesogens. Okay, and so they disrupt our hormone balance and they inhibit our fat from metabolizing. Okay, so they literally make us fat. And diet products are loaded with them. Okay, and then the other one, big one, is artificial sweeteners. Okay, because they will activate your adrenals and they'll prevent your body from going into fat burning mode. Yeah. Okay, so there's just a few simple hacks to accelerate your weight loss. Any questions on that before I wrap it up?
Anyone got any questions? This has been awesome training, don't you agree? Oh, here we go. Absolutely awesome, says Peter. Yep. Cool.
Just to kind of recap on the 3 points. Point one was why you struggle to lose weight, and the biggest reason is metabolism has broken down due to restricted eating, processed foods, toxicity, and the big one, stress. Point two, I talked about the three major players for your metabolic burn rate. So your adrenals, your liver, and your thyroid, and they all work together to turn up your burn rate. And point three was to accelerate your weight loss while eating more. Okay, so eating more functional foods that target those key areas and remove toxic foods.
Awesome.
Any questions in there?
Has anyone got any questions? Andy saying awesome, Kate saying awesome, excellent.
If anyone wants to know any more about how to do this, how to use different...
Rachel's already said how.
Yeah, okay. So I've designed a metabolic program that helps you to do this. Okay, so it's the same program that my clients have used to, lose a lot of weight, be able to get back into their clothes, enjoy jumping on the scales, but just have a lot more energy, feel a lot more comfortable every day in their clothes and just in their body. But also get rid of a lot of kind of like niggling symptoms like bloating, poor sleep, and really stabilizing the mood as well. So the metabolic program is called Ultra Metabolism. Okay, and so basically within the program, I show you what are the metabolic roadblocks. So what are those foods that need to be removed and different chemicals from the environment, and removing them, and what foods to actually include to lose the weight. So what functional foods that you have in a specific order. So it's not, I kind of call this biohacking because it's not about, cutting out any major food groups. It's not about making this, it's actually super easy. It's having foods in a particular order, okay? And when you do it in this way, it actually it almost like tricks your metabolism to switch itself back on, okay? And so these foods, you'll be having 5 to 6 meals per day.
Wow. Okay?
So it is a lot more than what people are used to. And generally, if you need to lose a lot of weight, then you need to eat more food, okay?
Yeah.
So it's not, the whole emphasis of the program is to really support those three key systems which regulate the metabolism, not about counting calories or being hungry. So I've got a couple of bonuses in there too, which is detoxify your life. So this is really about getting rid of those chemicals out of your environment, which are going to actually make you fat, okay? Because they're going to encourage your body to create more body fat to store them, okay?
Yeah. And
not just for body fat, I think it's important to reduce the chemicals in your environment anyway for health, okay? A lot of these chemicals are carcinogenic, they're cancer causing. So, not just from a weight loss perspective, but from a health and longevity and well-being perspective, it's important to get them out of the environment. Another bonus is the Calm Kit. So really looking at eliminating that stress fat, okay? So if you've got adrenal fatigue, if you've got weight kind of building up, particularly around the abdomen, okay, that's where we tend to see the stress fat coming on. So really putting your body in a relaxed state so it knows it's safe to burn body fat for fuel. Okay, so that's the program. So what I'm going to do is I might put the link, or actually you've got the link.
I've got the link. I'll pop it in right now. Yeah, all good. Sorry, I just had to recharge my my computer. Okay, so guys, how awesome does this sound? So how much is that, all of that worth, Vez? What are all the things that you're getting?
Yeah, so the total value is over $1,300.
Wow.
And it normally sells for $497, but just for the next few days, I'm offering it for $247, so $247 for the whole program. It's a one-off investment. So whether you want to lose 5 kilos, 10 kilos, 20 kilos or more, it's the same price.
Yeah, awesome. So that was the next question I was going to say. So even if you're doing it for 10 weeks, it's still just $247.
Yep.
So it's like the price of not even a cup of coffee or whatever.
Yeah, so I mean, if you're losing 10 kilos, you're looking at about, $30-40 a week or something it's going to cost you,
Yeah.
And, I mean, one of the things that I hear my clients say, like, they always thought they were eating pretty well. That's the biggest thing that I hear my clients say. I eat really well. I don't lose weight. When they do this, they can see the little kind of nuances, the little differences that make such a massive difference,
Yes.
And they find that when they're like, if you're cooking for your family and you've got kids, like they're going to eat relatively the same things as what you're eating on this. Okay. So it's not going to be, you're not cooking 2 separate meals.
I was going to say that's another question people always have, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, no. But what they found is that, they always thought their kids were eating quite well, but they've noticed the little differences that they can make in the diet for their children, is to make healthier choices, So it's a real education piece as well of good nutrition to really nourish a metabolism and a body.
I think for me, the biggest thing was when it was really about the health factor and having that different, like just having, like it didn't feel like it was hard. It didn't, and I'm somebody who eats a lot of takeaway. You know this about me. Yeah. I eat a lot of takeaway food because it's easy and because I'm always like, I forget to eat in the middle of, like, I'll have, usually, this is what I do usually. I'll probably have breakfast or I will just have a coffee. And then I would forget to eat because I get so busy at my computer. And then I realize it's, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I haven't eaten anything all day. I'm starving. And then I eat some sort of crap because, just that's the way it is. And so it's that constant cycle. And I think the thing when I did it with you was I had little things to eat with me all the time because I didn't want to be caught out. And they were really easy things that I could just chuck in a bag and go. And I just was making better food choices because I wanted to feel better. It wasn't because, like I was noticing just from eating different foods, I was feeling better. And I think that was probably the biggest motivator to keep doing it. Yeah.
I think this program is designed for the busy woman in mind. Okay. So the women that have done it, they're either running their own business, they're running a pretty demanding career, with family, with kids, they're working, they've got the kids. So they didn't have time to mess about in the kitchen all night. Like no one wants to do that unless you do. I don't. This is really, it is for the busy woman. So it's using everyday healthy foods, but it is just kind of structuring it in a way that really nourishes your metabolism. There's another point I wanted to make by what you just said. Yes, the motivation factor. So, the first thing that you have to be committed, like you have to have that level of discipline. So even though, before you started, you were like going too long between meals and you didn't have that kind of discipline, you quickly had that discipline. Do you know what I mean? It was easy for you to do it.
So do you know what it was? It was that you gave me basically a thing of what I could eat because I was just like, I don't want to have to think about this and it's all too hard and stressful for me to think. And you gave me like a list of things to eat. And so I was like, I just have to choose from that. Okay, that's fine.
If you put the link in the chat box, you'll have a look at what's in the program. So there's I do like a 28-day plan.
Oh, I've put the link in. I've already put the link in.
Oh, have you? Okay. There's a 28-day plan. There's like daily meal plans. I'll give you a weekly snapshot. I mean, everything is so done for you. Yeah. It's so easy to just follow it. You just have to, you can either have it on your iPhone, you can print it out. It's just
Yeah, okay, so we've got some questions here now come through. Okay, so is there a problem with food allergies, or are they catered for?
So most of the, depending what your food allergies are, the diet is very low allergenic, so it removes all the common food allergens.
So Peter, for instance, I know is allergic to rice, because when I do events, Peter's always at them, so I have to make sure. So it's the opposite of the gluten-free. It's like rice, oats, and nuts or something. So you'd be able to do that, right?
Yeah. So you can swap the rice for like barley. You know, you can do different breakfast options. Like there is oats in there, but you don't have to do oats. You can do like eggs in the morning.
Yeah, and I think that the key thing as well is that Vesna was going to say to you, but I'll just jump in and say it anyway now, is that if you have a specific thing that you're not quite sure whether it's the right thing for you because you've got a specific issue, then Vez would be happy to have a conversation with you just to tell you, just to work out whether it would work for you or not. I'm sure it would, but I know that sometimes you just want that little bit of you just want to make sure that it's right for you, and that's totally fine. So if you did want to do that, all you have to do is either just message Vesna. So she's in the group, so you can actually just click on her and just PM her, and you can organise to have a chat with her about it, because I know that would be the thing. But I've got some more questions here. So Rachel's saying, is it lifetime access?
Yeah, so as long as I've got it online. I mean, you download a lot of the material, and so you can have that, but as long as it's online, you've got access to it. So
it's like I always say lifetime access, and I'm like, as long as I'm still, my business is still running, it's lifetime. Lifetime access, and you can download the stuff anyway, so that's awesome. Yeah. Ali's saying, is this program compatible with high volume running? I'm super keen, but running a lot at the moment.
How much is a lot?
How much is a lot, Chicky? It's Ali. All right, I'll come back to that in a sec. Protein bars.
It totally is. It just, like with the high running, like, I think there was a question in...
That was from Ali. That was one I said to you this morning about the sleep. The sleep we were talking about.
Yes, we should go through those questions. Yep. Yes. With high running, so if you're doing marathon running and things like that, it's really common to have some degree of adrenal fatigue with marathon runners because of the stress on the body. Okay, and so this is exactly what this program will address as well from a dietary perspective. Okay, it's really going to nourish and support your adrenals, so you have better hormonal balance for your metabolism, but you'll have a lot more energy, you'll have better endurance, better performance. So absolutely.
Yeah. And then James has said protein bars, are they crap too?
Yep.
Yeah. So I just made my own protein bars from just a recipe I got that was just you make it out of nuts and like all the bits and pieces.
Yep.
Which they taste
protein bars are just full of fillers and crap and binders and just stuff that's just not, it becomes a toxin.
Okay, so Ali's come back and said she's running 50 plus kilometers a week.
Yeah, so that's a lot. So absolutely, the diet will be, like I said, it will nourish your adrenals, so it will give back to your body what you may not be getting at the moment. So it'll be really nutritious to support your metabolism, and like I said, it will actually, you'll find that you'll have a lot more energy.
Yeah, awesome. And what about, we had some other questions from people that couldn't make it live. Do you want to go through them?
Yeah, let's do that. Okay. So first one was from Lisa, and it was about sleep and potentially having sleep apnea. And I think let me just quickly read over this again. She wants to help with sleep. Okay. So, with sleep apnea, there's two things going on there. Like there's one where weight is most often an issue. Okay. So there's definitely that losing weight aspect. I would recommend that you go and do the sleep assessment and to see if you do have sleep apnea, because that will need to be treated. Because if you're not so with sleep apnea, you're basically not getting enough oxygen and you're not having a proper sleep during the night. So you're going to feel exhausted all the time. And you will wake up with headaches. I think she said she wakes up with headaches. because of the lack of oxygen. Okay. And so if you're tired, it's going to make it hard for you to eat well and make healthy choices. So it's kind of like this vicious cycle. So I would recommend having your assessment done for sleep apnea. And if you do, then you may need the CPAP machine. And it could just be short term. Okay. But if you want to make it short term, I would do weight loss in conjunction with that. So you get faster results. Okay. So the sleep apnea will be preventing weight loss for sure. Okay. For sure. So do that together.
Yeah, so that's the
next
thing,
question.
you kind of go, like with the sleep apnea, you go, oh, I have to lose weight to stop the sleep apnea, but then I'm not getting sleep, so I'm not going to do exercise because I'm tired and I've got headaches and, you know.
And let's look at it this way, like when you're not getting enough oxygen while you're sleeping, your body's going into a state of stress. So you're going to release more cortisol. And with more cortisol, you're going to start storing more fat. So even while we're sleeping, we're burning fat, okay? But if you're not having a proper sleep, if you're waking up during the night, okay, if your stress hormones are peaking at all, you're not going to be burning fat. You'll just start storing it. Yeah.
Fascinating.
Next question was from Alison. Okay, so love to hear more about sleep. I've tried everything, including melatonin. Okay, so Alison, my question to you would be, if
Ali is also the one who's running 50 kilometers a week.
Okay, so that could be that kind of adrenal fatigue. Like what I find is that if your body's under a lot of stress, and if your days are pretty fast paced, if you're not getting enough recovery nutritionally, there's a whole bunch of other factors. But what it sounds like the most likely cause is that your cortisol levels may be peaking at night. So if you've got a pretty demanding schedule during the week, and like I said,
got 4 boys.
So when you're stressed during the day, what happens at night is that because there's been a lot of stress hormones during the day, it has this rebound effect at night. And so you start to release cortisol again in the middle of the night. And what happens is that cuts off melatonin. Okay, so cortisol and melatonin, they balance each other out. So when cortisol's up, melatonin goes down. Yeah. Which means it's going to wake you up and prevent good sleep. So I would be looking at, again, really nourishing your body so you're having those carbohydrates so the adrenals can calm down. And even look at like any kind of calming exercises during the day, because the major difference will be is how calm you can be during the day. Like you're not going to be chilled out all the time, but you don't want to be operating from a high level of stress, okay? Because it's really what's happening for you during the day that's impacting your sleep. So something as little as if you go out into nature for a walk, like if you're surrounded by, it's not totally urban, but if you've got some trees or going into a park and things like that, it's actually been scientifically proven to improve your nighttime rest, okay? Because it brings the stress hormones down during the day, which you don't get that rebound effect at night.
Wow.
Hopefully that makes sense.
Awesome. Yeah, makes perfect sense to me. So next question.
Next question is Caroline. I hope that I've answered some of the questions during the training. Stubborn belly fat. Okay, so that's going to come down to that stress fat, so the big high cortisol. So again, we're looking at calming down the adrenals. Cellulite, like I said, that's all adrenals. So if your body doesn't have, like I said, when that glucose fuel tank runs low, it needs to be refueled and it will start to burn muscle to convert that into glucose. Okay, and so then what's left over goes in as fat on our body, and that turns into cellulite. Yeah. Sleep, adrenal fatigue, and caffeine. So all of those, adrenal fatigue and caffeine you're looking at high cortisol levels. So again, throwing off that metabolic burn rate. So I think I've covered a lot of that in the training.
I think so, yeah.
Jessica is the next question. Fibromyalgia, a couple of other mobility, muscular complaints, psoriasis and asthma. Okay, so this is where I would start. Okay, so you've got psoriasis, asthma, and allergic to certain foods. So I really, at this fundamental level, I would be looking at addressing allergies and gut. Okay, so if with psoriasis is generally, we're looking at gut function and also detoxification of the body. And with asthma, we're looking at allergies. And again, all of that stuff, it comes back to the gut. And the reason being is that around our gut, we have 70% of our immune system, okay? And so if we've got poor gut function, the immune system gets involved, okay? And it produces lots of inflammation in the body, and it makes us more allergic. So we have more reactions to different environmental, things in the environment for asthma and for skin, psoriasis, etc.
Yeah.
So also too, the other thing that I want to point out is that with fibromyalgia, and without knowing your history or anything like that, is fibromyalgia is often linked to low thyroid production, or like low thyroid hormone production, okay? And again, the biggest, another big influencer for the thyroid is the liver, okay, which then, and also the gut. So kind of to summarize all of that, I'd be looking at addressing gut function,
which
and
you
going
do
on a kind of, sorry?
That's the first thing we do, is look at gut function in the ultra metabolism. Yeah.
So in the detox, yeah, so not so much in the ultra metabolism, but in the detox that you did, we talked about the gut function. That's what we did first. But
so I'm just going to interrupt here. So Vesna has lots of different ways that you can work with her. So this is her very entry level way. I've worked with her in her Bye Bye Burnout, which is another program that she's got, which is also awesome. How much is that one, Chip?
So it's $997.
$997. So it depends on what you're after, but this is a really, really fascinating and cheap program if you're wanting to kind of really get Vesna's gold in a self-paced study.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm starting again on the 4th of August. So I'm doing mine again on the 4th of August after I get back from Melbourne.
We've heard that live. We're going to document that.
I'm accountable. I'm starting here. No, it's definitely on the cards.
So, yeah, cool. So for Jessica, even something like the ultra metabolism will make a massive difference because it's a low inflammatory diet. It's a low allergenic diet, and it's really going to regulate those 3 key systems. So it will take the pressure off the gut. It will start to detoxify the liver.
Yeah.
So it will reduce a lot of your symptoms with the psoriasis and the asthma, and it will most likely have an impact on your fibromyalgia. So that's without knowing your history, but it would make a difference in your symptoms.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so there was another question. Amanda asked a question about menopause, and I know there was another question from Trish about menopause.
Yes. Okay. Perimenopausal, struggling with sugar addiction. Okay, so let me answer Trish. Trish is asking about with the perimenopause, she's having lots of sugar cravings, and she's eating a lot more. Okay, and she's feeling bloated and sick. So with perimenopause, what happens is once we don't have the same level of estrogen and progesterone, okay, coming from our ovaries, what happens is that our body still needs to have a level of those hormones. And what it does, it starts to produce those hormones, but from a different source. So our adrenal glands, along with our body fat, will start to produce a different type of estrogen, okay? So if we're adrenally fatigued going into menopause, okay, menopause is going to be a lot harder, okay, because we don't have the resources in the adrenals. And so you'll get all sorts of symptoms like, gaining weight because the body will stack on more weight to use that to produce estrogen. Can be the cravings because the adrenals regulate our glucose fuel tank. So to kind of, what's my biggest downfall? Okay, so she wants advice on beating cravings. So I'd again be looking at having good carbohydrates to nourish the adrenals, so that way they're calm and relaxed, so that'll keep your sugar levels stable. The most important thing with cravings is that as soon as your sugar levels drop, that stimulates the craving, okay? Even if you don't notice your sugar levels dropping, okay, that's what's bringing on the craving. So it's really about having lots of regular meals or snacks during the day to keep that steady. Yeah,
and I found that was really key for me because I was doing it. Now, Amanda's question was, let me just find it. I know she was leaving. I think she's jumped off, but she can listen to the replay. Sorry, it's way back here. Something about, so Amanda was saying she had constant cravings for sugar, and she was also the one that asked about that. Oh, here we go. Can this be real? Oh, this is what she said. I lost 15 kilos last year, then just by eating more healthy, maintained it for 6 months, then stacked it all back on. It feels like I can't stop eating. Can this be related to menopause and changing hormones?
Yes, it can be. So again, it comes back to the adrenals. So kind of the other thing, just to add into the cravings, you can look at different nutrients which help to balance the blood sugar levels and improve our utilization of sugars. So sometimes we could be eating the right foods, but our body has lost, or our cells have lost, that sensitivity to processing the glucose. So like insulin resistance and things like that. Yeah. So things like magnesium and chromium are really important. Essential fatty acids like fish oils, they help to give back that sensitivity to our cells, regulate our glucose levels, and make sure that we're getting that that energy from our foods, if that makes sense. So I think the other thing that you talked about with me was making sure that I was having certain types of supplements. Is in this program, is that the same? Like, would people have to have certain supplements as well? So the program on its own works as a standalone just through food. Okay, I am including into the program, in the Calm kit, I'm including like a little adrenal repair pack. Okay, so I'm suggesting different herbal supplements that I know that work really well to calm the adrenals down. So if your life is really fast-paced and stressful and you find that you just can't feel relaxed during the day, then that's where the adrenal kit will work really well, because it'll give you the herbs that will bring that stress response down. Okay, so they're not required in order for the program to work. There's just additional if that's going to support you. Awesome. And then Rachel's asked, will I be able to kick my antidepressant for postnatal depression? I feel like it's a crutch. Yeah, so I wouldn't recommend that's something you need to speak to your doctor about. Definitely you can influence your mood with food, 100%. And in fact, I wrote a blog article about it not long ago, how GMO foods and pesticides and sugar have such an influence on our mental health. And wheat, gluten, that alone, like they did a study where a woman who had schizophrenia and her symptoms, she stopped hallucinating when she cut out gluten. So that's the dramatic effect that diet can have. Yeah. The only thing I'd say is, yes, you can, but you'd have to do it slowly and wean yourself off, and you will need to keep in check with your doctor. Okay, but I would definitely recommend improving your diet so your brain chemistry is in better balance, so you don't have to rely on medication for that. Yeah, awesome. Okay, cool. Was there any other questions that we were supposed to answer on that? I'm going to look at there's a couple more here. There's one from Peter. She's talking about she needs to lose weight, and she may have the sleep apnea, or she. So Peter's been on here, so you might have probably answered it, did you? Okay. Yeah, I may have. Well, I did talk about sleep apnea, and I've talked about cravings. Yeah. Julie, she did the Michelle Bridges program, lost the weight. Now talk to me about the Michelle Bridges thing, because we talked about this before. Yeah. So Michelle Bridges, as far as I know, it's like 1,200 calories or 1,500 calories a day, and so that is putting your body in semi-starvation. Okay. So I don't know. I posted a thing on my Facebook the other day, which got a lot of hits. Where back in the 1950s, they did a study on called the biology of human starvation, and they put people on a semi-starvation diet. Yeah. And what they did was they tracked them for 3 to 6 months after they'd finished the diet, and they found that these people, even though they returned to eating normal food, they'd become so obsessed with food. They were constantly binge eating and craving foods and thinking about food because their body had been in a starvation mode. And basically the calories that they were eating 1,500 calories a day. Okay, so that was considered starvation in the 1950s. Today, people dish that out quite regularly, which is pretty scary. So the thing with going on restrictive diets is, again, like I said in the training, is that it puts your body in starvation mode. And when your body's in starvation mode, all of those mechanisms kick back in to quickly get you to store fat, okay? Yeah. And 1,200 calories, 1,500 calories a day is starvation, and it's nutritional starvation as well. So you're not going to get the right amount of nutrients that your metabolism needs.
Because all you're focusing on and then is going, oh, I can eat this thing because it's only 300 calories, but it's not necessarily
and it could be
the right thing.
Yeah, it could be a diet product. So you're pumping yourself full of toxins and you know, crap. And then when you come off, I mean, the whole time you're in that deprivation mode. And so your mind is just always thinking about the things that you're going to eat when you get off, you know. You can't, you know, like it's just, you can't trick the body and the mind. It's just, you need to, that's why when you flood the body full of nutrition and you're eating really regularly, like on the ultra metabolism, you are not going to be hungry at all. Okay. And like I said, the only concern that my clients have had is, oh my goodness, I think I'm going to gain weight because I'm going to eat so much. Yeah. You know, and they don't, they lose it. Okay. So it's really shifting that mindset for you as well. You know, like it's so ingrained in us.
Yeah. And I think this is probably a good time to give the bonus to the people. So yes. In order to get your bonus, all you have to do is message Vesna and say, can you please give me the free bonus? And the bonus is what, Chick?
So I'll give you all the foods that I have that are the nourishing for those key systems. So it's the foods that are included in the ultra metabolism. So it's a shopping list basically. So
which is awesome, because that's always my biggest thing is like, what do I have to buy at the supermarket to make this work?
Or you can do it straight online. You can just copy that stuff, paste it online and do your online shopping and never have to enter the supermarket.
Yay! And then you don't have to walk past the chocolate aisle and go, oh, I have to get a chocolate. Yeah. So how awesome is that, guys? So for you guys, even if you're not watching it live, if you're watching the replay later, you can totally, all you have to do is message Vesna. If you can't find Vesna, so it's Vesna Hrsto, Hrsto, and her first name is Vesna. If you can't find her for some reason or your message isn't getting through, feel free to message me and I will pass it on. Like this has been awesome, Vez. Thank you so much for
it's been my pleasure.
Yeah.
No, thank you. It's been my pleasure. And thanks for all the questions, guys. It makes it nice to be so interactive. I know that you guys are
I love my people because they always ask awesome questions and they're always really interactive and make you feel like you're not a silly idiot sitting at home talking to your computer on your own. So it's good.
And if there's any other questions kind of after this is, after we've finished, so after they watch the recording, just add them. Can they just add them to the thread and I can jump in there and answer them?
Yeah, totally. That's awesome because, so Vesna's in our profitable photographer group while she's looking at this. So she will see any questions that you pop in. If you're watching this later on the replay, she'll see anything and she can answer your questions. And I'm sure if you wanted to book into her calendar and just have a quick 15-minute chat with her about any specific issues that you had, I know that she's really open to that because she'll be able to tell you really quickly like whether or not she can help you or not. So
so we'll do a 15-minute complimentary consultation. Okay, and we'll get to the bottom of what is your specific issue and whether the ultra metabolism is something right for you or you need something else. So I'm happy to just give you some direction.
Yeah, awesome. All righty, thank you so much, guys. Thanks so much for being on live. Thanks, Vez. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Please do, if you know anyone that's in the group that didn't get to manage to watch it, make sure you tell them to come in and watch it. And I will talk to you all later. And don't forget to message Vesna to get your shopping list for the food that you need to eat because it's awesome. And if you did just want to join the Ultra Metabolism program, the link is in the comments, but I'll post it again now so that you can see it and I'll send you all an email as well. All right, guys. We'll see you later. Bye. Thanks, Vez.
You're welcome.